Good evening, my wonderful family. Your mother and I thought it would be interesting for you to learn more about your ancestry. I'd like to tell my family the story of your great-great-great-grandfather. This is a story of a man in Scotland. You know all about the Irish connection to our family, so we won't revisit that. But I want to tell you the story about Richard Ballantyne. He was known in the church as the Knight of the Kingdom. Wait a minute, what do we have here?
Oi laddie, I'm Richard Ballantyne.
Oh, you can't be, you've been dead for hundreds of years.
I know, but I've come back to make sure you're keeping the faith.
Oh, I am. Would you like to tell the story?
Of course I would, laddie.
Well, I'm going to turn this over to my great-great-grandfather. He'll tell you and your children about his life.
His decision was made. He hitched up his tight-legged trousers, knotted a black tie at his throat, and threw the Sunday best coat over his slight shoulders. Impatiently, he jammed a few old pieces into a battered suitcase for the overnight trip. He dashed a brush over his dark brown hair, and in the mirror made a final inspection of his thin, sensitive figures. Carefully, he closed the door to his room and with long strides into the street. A cold wind tossed snow flurries over his boots, and he tucked the heavy muffler snugly under his chin. The coach was waiting. He found a seat and surveyed the weary travellers who shifted uneasily and then braced themselves against the lurches and bumps of the stage. While the other passengers rubbed their chilled fingers and stamped the circulation back into their feet, the slim youth relaxed quietly and settled himself for the journey to Edinburgh. As the horses clipped off the miles, he turned over in his mind the consequences of his step. He knew there was no martyr like the saints of old, yet he felt the sacrifices were likely. He thought of his prospering bakery in Earlston, of his growing prestige in the community. He recalled with pleasure his close ties with the Relief Presbyterian Church and his Sunday school class. Aye, and there was a girl too. He could have her, if she was willing to follow him to the ends of the earth. But he felt that she could never fully accept his new faith, nor adjust to the trials ahead. She had pleaded with him to change his mind. The landscape of Scotland rolled by him, the neat farms and snow-blanketed pastures, lazy cows and sheep steaming in frozen barnyards. The stone-filled moors and an occasional rustic peasant were all part of the picture. There were small, rugged homes built of rock with tiled roofs, homes that were as sturdy as their occupants. To his right, an austere little kirk boldly pierced the sky with its sharp spire. In the distance, by shadowy outline of a pile of stones, was a dim reminder of bygone knights and ladies, wars between clans, and an age which had been resurrected in the Waverley novels written little more than a decade before, and which would stir the memory of Scotland for a long time to come. Darkness had fallen when he drew up to a handful of people collected on the shore of the Firth of Forth, near the town of Leith. It was a beautiful moonlit night in December 1842. A figure dressed in long flowing cloak and a sombre hat approached him. It was time. After a brief greeting, Richard said that he was now ready for baptism.
Now, what did you have to sacrifice to join the church?
Well, I gave away my business, which was a bakery. I gave away the woman I loved, and I had to accept the fact that my family would not be following me.
Was it a big sacrifice, or did you gain from it?
Aye, laddie, the sacrifice was large, but I gained the gifts of spiritual eternity.
So why have you come back to talk to your posterity?
To let the future people know that the church is true, and that Joseph Smith was a prophet, and the fact remains that we can all achieve eternal enlightenment and peace through the Church of Jesus Christ.
Well, I want you to know that I will not let you down. I will not be the one who breaks the chain. I have kept the faith, and thank you so much for all you did so that my entire posterity has the church in their lives. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, laddie.
I just want my family to know that we stand on the shoulders of giants, and this great-great-great-grandfather of yours was truly a giant in the gospel. We owe a great debt of gratitude to our great-great-grandfather Richard Ballantyne. He was truly a giant, and we have the great privilege of sitting on his shoulders so we can see the vision that he had. I want you to meet the girl that I married. She's the mother of our 6 children, and I'd like to have you meet my wife, and I hope you approve.
Hi, lass, how are you?
I'm so grateful to meet you.
I'm grateful for you, love. You're doing a wonderful job as a mother of this church.
Thank you. It's interesting to me how many different cultures received the message and openly embraced it. That's as you study your ancestors and you find out what they had to do to join the church and of course come to Zion at that time. And it makes me wonder how you had that strength. I guess that's my admiration and appreciation when I read these stories, and what caused you to leave your culture and it had to be such a strong testimony of the gospel. After praying every day for what you need to do during the day to serve and give up what you can for the church, I still don't feel like it would be as much as what you did. So great admiration and appreciation. And I do love the church.
Well, great-great-grandfather, do you approve of who I married?
Oi, she's a beautiful lass.
Oi, do you approve of your posterities?
I am so proud to be part of this family and this heritage that you gave us.
And I'm glad I could give it. Oi.
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 Oi.